I mean, what's one more year of multi-million-dollar losses? I thought Angel Reese was the star of stars, the icon of icons. That's what the mainstream media keeps telling me. Headline at Forbes from last month: how Angel Reese and A'ja Wilson are leading the WNBA's growth.
Angel Reese just discovered that a cable access chess tournament had more viewers than her WNBA, Nebraska. She did not take it well, to put it mildly. Angel's ratings appeared like a silent dance on mute while Caitlyn Clark was out here shattering TV records like she was the Beyoncé of hoops. What took place? What caused America as a whole to switch the channel? This is more than just a flop, so fasten your seatbelts. It's an amazing slow-motion crash that is worthy of popcorn. Let's get started.
You've got a basketball player, you got a celebrity that, or somebody that thinks she's a celebrity, that happens to be a basketball player. All right, but she's not celebrity enough to actually pack in the stands. And guys, there is some ugly numbers.
With the swagger of someone who believed she was Beyoncé performing at Coachella, Angel Reese strode onto the WNBA preseason court. However, she soon discovered that the only people in attendance were bored janitors, two birds trapped in the rafters, and a perplexed popcorn vendor who mistook this for a monster truck rally. Reese miraculously avoided being seen on national television in a world when eyes are everywhere, not figuratively, but actually invisible, because no one was looking.
Wait a minute. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I thought Angel Reese was responsible for elevating the WNBA dump. I thought Angel Reese was responsible for taking the dump and turning it into an unmonetizable turd. Now, to her credit, it is a nicely polished turd. It almost looks appealing. Almost. Of course, it's still not appealing enough to generate profit, but I guess the WNBA is taking baby steps.
The preseason game between the Chicago Sky and the Brazilian national team at LSU is the first stop on the Ghost Town tour. Given the Brazilian flair, Reese's collegiate following, and the general "I'm her" vibe, one would expect the event would be packed. Not at all, spoiler alert. That game's TV ratings were so low that they gave the impression that dial-up internet was quick. Less people from entire continents tuned in then for the paint drying competition. NASA was watching the Mars rover footage more closely that day. A screensaver showing a bouncing DVD logo might have been used in place of the broadcast, and it most likely would have created greater excitement.
All of you who tell us, "Oh my God, what a big superstar. Oh my God, transcendent. Oh my goodness, generational. Oh my goodness," so on and so forth. You guys do all the talking, all the yapping. Twitter fingers turn to can't even show up and buy ticket fingers.
Now fast forward to the second preseason game, Minnesota Lynx versus Chicago Sky. Her "look at me now" moment was meant to symbolize the Reese redemption arc. It was, instead, "look at me, please." Anyone? During warm-ups, a few pigeons soared overhead before departing because they found it to be too dull. Reese anticipated confetti and explosions. She received chirping crickets and a live tweet from a Wendy's from an uninterested blogger. The scoreboard was dull as well.
Look, one of the biggest stories to come out of this game is you're playing one of the considered to be top 4 teams in the league, the Minnesota Lynx, and nobody showed up to watch this game. All right? Again, 5 million Instagram followers do not equate to basketball fans.
It seemed like a scene from a horror film as the camera panned across the stands at one point. The sound of empty seats reverberating like a deserted ghost town. A network executive, somewhere in a basement, looked at the Nielsen data and silently started searching for how to fake your own death on Google. Reese didn't take it well, though. Oh no. She didn't simply dismiss it with dignity and modesty. She lost her mind. It is not Michael Jordan who transforms hatred into greatness. Nuts. More akin to the antagonist of a 3-part reunion special on reality TV. Nuts. There was enough attitude to fuel a whole season of Real Housewives, along with cryptic emojis and passive-aggressive posts.
So I think it's time to finally, end the argument. End the argument that there is any sort of, other needle mover that is even remotely close to Caitlyn Clark in the WNBA. And again, the reason why we've got Hailey Van Lith up is because it was Hailey Van Lith's return as well as Angel Reese's return.
Therefore, I believe it's time to put an end to the argument for good. Put a stop to the claim that there is another needle mover in the WNBA who is even somewhat comparable to Caitlyn Clark. Furthermore, it was both Hailey Van Lith's and Angel Reese's homecoming, which is why we feel like we have Hailey Van Lith up. Ironically, she wasn't even a horrible player. Statistically sound, remained steadfast, and even had a few moments that, on a day with little news, may have made a good ESPN reel. However, no one gave a damn. Not because she didn't perform, but rather because when the cameras aren't rolling and the spotlight is on something more shiny, performance is irrelevant. Greetings from the era of 4K highlight reels and viral moments, where content is nothing without spectacle. No one is around to witness Angel Reese stop a shot in the jungle. Is there any sound it makes? Not at all. Not even a murmur. Only a thump. A dreary, melancholy thud as her PR team as a whole passes out from exhaustion. They are frantically attempting to turn this into something redeemable, with their overworked laptops still open in Twitter tabs. There was no internet activity. The headlines were unimpressive. The audience, as the game isn't the main focus these days. It has to do with the GIF. Additionally, you might as well have remained on the bench if your hustling doesn't result in real-time meme weather magic. I end the digital age. Being invisible is the worst kind of irrelevance, particularly when you're performing your duties effectively.
A real big game. Y'all talk a real big game. Y'all tell us just how amazing Angel Reese is. Y'all tell us how y'all ride or die with Angel Reese. And you know what? This ain't on Angel Reese. This isn't even about Angel Reese. It's about...
Meanwhile, Caitlyn Clark was destroying the sports world as if she had just figured out how to dunk from the three-point line, someplace far, far away in a parallel universe where people actually watch women's basketball. In the plural, the Indiana Fever's exhibition game set a record. Caitlyn showed out, not just showed up. Her performance drew more than simply attention. It essentially took over televisions. NBA executives, housewives, plumbers, and those who believed the WNBA was a Wi-Fi password. They all paid attention. When Clark brought the juice, people arrived in droves. It was electric energy. She resembled a viral meme in the sports world, but instead of only receiving likes, she was dropping threes as if it were her job. Spoiler alert. It is. However, Angel Reese, poor Angel. With all the excitement of a damp sock, her big moment came and went. Nobody appeared to give a damn. Although she did have a little bit of trash talk, it was more akin to Caitlyn's full-throated display. As Clark dunked symbolic basketballs from Mars, Reese continued to try to figure out how to make her sneakers not make too much noise on the hardwood floor. Talk about a chance that was lost.
Caitlyn Clark and the Indiana Felines against the best AAU team from Brazil. The Roo from Waterloo drew 1.3 million viewers, which was a 13% increase over the WNBA's regular season average on ESPN last year. Viewership also exceeded ratings for Game 1 of the WNBA Finals.
ESPN is having a hard time keeping up with Caitlyn Clark's own cinematic universe. To deal with the crazy traffic, they had to put up more digital streams. It seems like a Marvel crossover every time Clark makes a move. Social media takes off somehow. Her sneeze is popular. Angel Reese's coach is over there, perhaps thinking about the depths of his own existential crisis when she makes a layup and forgets to clap. However, Angel, please elaborate on how you're altering the game. We're all listening. Then there is Reese's supporters' illusion. Bless their misguided, devoted souls who have made it their goal to place the blame on everyone but reality. They complain that the networks didn't do enough to promote it. Yes, since a professional sports league ought to give a rookie who hasn't played many actual games special treatment. They complain that it was a horrible time slot, don't they? Because the primary reason of the Armageddon in ratings is unquestionably a 7 p.m. game. It was obviously unrelated to the excessive quiet and lack of excitement around the entire performance.
Caitlyn Clark is really back, and so is that CC motion. Look, I know I've said before I don't want to talk about repeats, and this topic isn't really brand new, but it feels fresh in a sense because we finally saw Caitlyn Clark back out on the basketball.
This is an interesting statistic. For an exhibition, Caitlyn Clark's game drew 1.3 million viewers. A small town's population couldn't even be represented by Reese's games. A live video of a potato rolling down a hill would now surpass her ratings. When minor league curling begins to produce superior results, you know something is wrong. However, the contrast is what makes it funny. Truly delightfully funnier. Reese and her team have developed this media persona as though she were the lead in an unapproved biopic. She has the big talk, the walk, and the gloss. She enters each arena as if it were the Met Gala. However, no one arrived to see the film when the lights were turned on and the cameras started rolling. It's still karaoke night at a depressing bar if you're playing in front of an empty room, no matter how fancy you want to make it. In comparison, Caitlyn Clark could host a photo session in a barn and still have admirers, drones, and perhaps a few bewildered deer interested only in her photo. Not all ratings were broken by the fever. They create a moment in culture. She is spearheading a movement rather than merely playing. Ree believed she was entitled to this level of fame without having to put forth the necessary effort.
If you guys did not see, right here, the Fever Brazil game came to 1.3 million viewers. 1.3 million viewers to an exhibition game. Not even a preseason game. An exhibition game. An exhibition game. An exhibition game. They came to an exhibition game. Or say they came to watch an exhibition game. That was a 60-point game, and Caitlyn Clark checked out at the end of the third quarter. And it averaged 1.3 million viewers, which is absolutely crazy.
And any of those things, that a preseason game in any sport could outrate any game of the finals championship series. And the context on the NBA preseason games, the last NBA preseason games to do so, both to outrate that game, both involved LeBron James, and one was his first game with the Lakers. The other one, the one in 2017 there, as you can see from this Rebecca Lobo tweet, barely outrated this. And there's the graphic from ESPN as they share it. Average of 1.3 million viewers, a peak of 1.6 million viewers. That's up 13% from the regular season last year.
Oh, and the shade. Reese didn't respond to all of this with a moment of calm meditation or a polite retreat for much-needed contemplation. No, the deflection was classic. Complete blame mode, scheduling issues, bad broadcasters, bad weather, Mercury and retrograde, and everything else that isn't the product itself. I hope the basketball isn't the problem. But for a moment, let's be honest. It's not the media's responsibility if you've built your entire brand on hoopla and no one attends the party you promised. You're to blame for that. You are the one who raised the bar and, to your surprise, fell short. She could have taken this as an opportunity to grow, to press the reset button, to take a look at it and decide, all right, let's go back to work and put this right. However, she decided on pandemonium instead. She decided to put in even more effort and twist everything. Because you begin to interpret every critique as a personal assault or, worse, a massive plot against you when you confuse attention for sincere admiration. It provides energy to the main character without any real plot.
LSU, Angel Reese, and all of those bums can't dish up a couple dollars to watch Angel Reese play, and it's pathetic because Angel Reese had a damn good game. Damn good game. Showed off her new Reebok shoes, looking pretty good. Picked up right where she left off, 15 points, 10 rebounds, 4 for 7. The double-double is back. The double-double is back. Angel Reese is back. Chicago Sky is back. Tyler Marsh, The ball movement in the Chicago Sky, night and day compared to last year. There's no pound from Courtney, from Vandersloot to Nurse to Reese to Cardoso to Atkins, is to Onyenwere to Williams. The ball was moving. The ball wasn't sticking in one place. Chicago Sky looked pretty good. I'm not going to.
Not to mention that Reese's own camp hyped up her preseason to the moon. She's here. Dramatic press photographs, teaser trailers, and tweets suggesting she was Diana Taurasi's second coming were all present. Even before she dribbled the ball, they had printed t-shirts featuring her visage. Every news organization was anticipating this historic moment in basketball history with bated breath. As a result, it received fewer views than the majority of unboxing videos on YouTube. That's horrible indeed. Compared to those that check in to see if a new iPhone has any slightly different hues, we're talking about fewer viewers. And that's before we take into consideration viewers who unintentionally tune in believing it to be something else, such as a new season of The Bachelor or a rerun of The Office. Can you picture the poor people who mistakenly thought they were watching the biggest sporting event of their lives only to be met with a drab game that made The Sandlot resemble an actual NBA Finals match? It's similar like yelling Allen while holding all of your chips in a poker hand only to discover that you're actually playing Uno.
LSU did not show her any love, and now her own city doesn't. Her own city in her own building doesn't show her love. I have said it time and time again. Preseason games don't mean dick. I don't care about them. But you want to know why people talk about it so damn much? People talk about it because y'all constantly want to remind everybody that folks are watching her games too. She's the one that said, people are watching the game because of me too. Well, that's not wholly accurate. It's just not accurate.
Caitlyn Clark, meantime, is over there drinking Gatorade and creating history in a nonchalant manner. Being in the moment doesn't require her to shout. The moment is her. It's not because she says it, but rather because people come to see her. With so many supporters yelling at the top of their voices, the Indiana Fever Games now resemble Coachella. Reese's games have all the energy of a calm Tuesday morning, but they also resemble community college gym class. Indeed, some may argue that comparing the two is unfair, but let's face it, Reese initiated the connection. After feeding and caring for it, she established herself as Caitlyn Clark's competitor. This drama's alleged second act, well, narrative twist. According to the ratings, it's more of a one-woman show with Caitlyn Clark as the main character and Angel Reese playing the supporting role. Nobody is paying attention to the supporting part. And regrettably for Reese, the data is indicating precisely that. When the scoreboard and the fans have other ideas, you can't merely declare yourself a rival. I apologize, but Reese and reality are the only rivals here.
Caitlyn Clark is really back, and so is that CC motion. Look, I know I've said before I don't want to talk about repeats, and this topic isn't really brand new, but it feels fresh in a sense because we finally saw Caitlyn Clark back out on the basketball floor, and we all had our reactions. I mean, she had that iconic moment, really, in a sense, for an exhibition, for a preseason moment, a legend.
But Reese has a game. However, you cannot Instagram your way into the annals of sports history that need proof, numbers, and eyes. Additionally, Reese now has a TikTok filter's statistical footprint. Stylish, but as soon as the battery runs out, it disappears. When they saw the facts, even the WNBA most likely cringed. When the next great thing doesn't even register on the radar, it's difficult to market. It's similar to marketing a huge film that fails to make a profit on its first weekend and then pointing the responsibility at the popcorn. Indeed, there was hype, large egos, even greater demands. Where's the substance, though? The statistics simply aren't reliable. Even worse, the spiral has only just started, because the story has now begun, and it is a tough one. Reese's collapse was not silent. She let out a loud flip. She couldn't even fill the throne room after announcing herself as the queen of the court. These days, every game has a price tag. Each airball has a louder reverberation. Every missed layup becomes a cringe-inducing joke, a new hashtag. or a viral moment. Her self-promotional media machine is now consuming itself, and it is impossible to unfollow the scoreboard. The internet will never forget, and numbers don't lie.
Seen all kinds of comments in my live. I've seen comments on my videos from Angel Reese fans. And hey, you know what? I appreciate y'all comments. But I'm sure I'm going to hear all kinds of comments now, and I'm fine with it. Bring them on. Defend your stance. Defend what you stand on. Because they could not give tickets away to the Chicago Sky Minnesota Lynx game yesterday. Couldn't give them away. People didn't watch her game versus Brazil. LSU fans didn't show up for her, and I got 1,000 reasons about baseball. But let's talk about it real fast. Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of
Caitlyn Clark is acting like a star, attracting spectators, packing arenas, and elevating basketball above drama. It serves as a seminar on how to get up without creating noise for the sake of doing so. No tricks, no mysterious outbursts on social media, simply performance, quality, and figures. Without substance, hype is like frosting without cake, and Rhea is learning this lesson the hard way. For a moment, it seems sweet, but it soon becomes regrettable. What will happen to the self-described royalty of hoops next? A reality check, I hope. She will become the only WNBA player whose social media engagement exceeded that of her whole professional debut, if the trend continues. Perhaps it's time for Angel Reese to focus on being a baller and quit trying to be a brand in a world full of Caitlyn Clarks, because she is currently only undermining network confidence.